Hey everyone, it's me Isha here at Momentarily Speaking. Thank you for coming back to my channel. Hey, in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down my March 2026 DEXA scan. It is my first time getting a DEXA scan, and I will be sharing with you my full report on body composition, visceral fat score, and what I'm going to be doing next to improve my metabolic health in that area of visceral fat. So if that interests you, please stick around and let's get started, okay? All right, so just a little background here. I wish if you're a newbie in the GLP-1 journey or weight loss journey, I really think that I kind of did myself a disservice by not getting a DEXA scan at the beginning of my journey, because I think when I look at this report, boy, this is pretty cool. I wish I would have known what 8 months ago my body really looked like. So you're going to see the report, and I'm going to show it here for you. And it's going to show you 8 months of me working hard to not only lose 30 pounds with a GLP-1, but also strength training and making sure that I keep my bone structure. And those are two areas that I'm very, very excited to share with you. So if we look in here, we see, so I did the scan on March 7th, and total body fat percentage is 42.8. My weight at the time was 171.2. My fat tissue, 71.9 in pounds. Lean tissue, 94.0 in pounds. And bone mineral content, BMC, is 5.3. So the first thing I was looking at, if you notice here, is you can see my scoliosis curve. And I was like, okay, this is not fake. This is definitely me. And what I'm seeing is that based on this, most of my fat is in my trunk area. My goal is to lose another 20 pounds. And I'm currently today I weighted myself and I'm at 168, so 20 pounds would put me at 148. Then when I look at my fat breakdown, right? I have trunk fat is high at 48.5% with 43 pounds of concentrated in the central region of my body. Android fat is at 54.4%, which is above the healthy threshold. Gynoid fat, hips and thighs, is 40.5%, which is less metabolically risky. So my AG ratio is 1.34, and according to the report, the target is to be below 1.0. So 1.34, 1.0, I think that's doable. That means I carry more fat in the abdominal region than the hips. And this is a pattern for insulin resistance. And if you know me, I am advocating for myself in the area of visceral fat and insulin, in becoming insulin sensitive. And I have changed my diet in the last month and a half to transitioning over to whole foods, eating more berries. So I'm doing certain things to get to the point where my body is insulin sensitive, and instead of storing fat, I want to burn fat. And so in doing that, I need to get my body to become insulin sensitive. So this report really allowed me to understand where I'm at. And again, this is where I wish I would have gotten a DEXA scan at the beginning of my journey, because I could be comparing right now and seeing, oh, wow, look how much visceral fat I've lost. When I go to my visceral fat, I'm seeing here the visceral adipose tissue, the visceral adipose tissue, is 3.79 pounds. So my visceral fat, the fat that is around my organs, weighs 3.79 pounds. That's the fat wrapped around my organs, which is the liver, the pancreas, the intestines. It's metabolically active and linked to inflammation, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. We do not want that. We do not want that. And the goal for the visceral fat, the VAT score, is to be at 0. And one thing that I found out that is good news is that the VAT score, to reduce your VAT score, you do certain things to get your body activated. And I call it activating my insulin sensitivity, right? By doing certain types of strength trainings like squats, deadlifts, walking. And I just recently started doing deadlifts. I have been doing squats and I have been doing walking consistently. I'm really curious to see what deadlifts are going to do for me. And I promise you, I will be getting a DEXA scan within the next quarter, because I do want to track this and I do want to show you and myself that this can be done with lifestyle changes. I also don't want to, my goal is not to be skinny fat. And so that's why I've gone away from looking at the scale like, oh my gosh, you know, let's say I go from 168 to 171. Oh my gosh, I've gained 2 pounds. No, I'm not looking at it anymore like that. I'm looking at the entire composition of what's happening in my body. Because as you start losing weight, your body starts doing a recomposition of your entire self. And so as it does that, you will go through times where it's going to be uneven. You're not going to lose as much and all that stuff. All that to say that I will continue to have an action plan. When I look at this report, I see that in the areas of bone and muscle, I have not lost. So now that I see this report and I see my numbers and I see the good news and the bad news, right? I am really, really interested in getting on track with this, because my goal is not to be a Sophie. A Sophie is skinny on the outside, fat on the inside. I don't want that. I don't want to be skinny fat. I want to have muscle, bone structure at 100% and my fat level at 100%. If you look at my report, you know, I'm doing well in the muscle area and in the bone area, but in the fat area, I still have a long way to go. So I'm going to show you here my Renpho body composition analysis report. I didn't have this in my budget, so I took out of my savings, but I went ahead and got the Morphoscan Nova. Can I tell you this thing? This thing is no joke. So I'm going to show you the report here. It's really like its own, you know, at home. Like now I have my at home DEXA scan where it breaks down my fat, breaks down my muscle, my bones, everything all strategically. I see this analysis report as good news for us because, as you know, if you've been following my channel from the very beginning, I was doing my steps and I was implementing strength training. And obviously, if we implement strength training and we walk, definitely it makes a difference in your muscle structure and your bone structure. And why is that important? You know that everywhere you go, the people who do not believe in in losing fat through a GLP-1, you know that their main thing is always you're going to lose muscle, you're going to lose bone mass, bone density. Um, Obviously, if you do it right, and I'm not saying I'm perfect, I'm saying there is a way to do it right. I'm not saying I'm doing it right because obviously, I still gotta, tackle my visceral fat and I'm getting there, right? But this is just good news for us to know that you can lose weight. And I've said this in a lot of my videos. Focus on strength training, focus on strength training. And strength training is not going to the gym and just lifting all this weight. It's not. You can start with walking, then you can proceed in squats. Squats have been a lifesaver for me. And now, like I said before, I'm doing the deadlifts. So I don't know how much that's going to do for me. But, jumping in place, while you're watching a Netflix or a movie or whatever and you're jumping in place, it's releasing a message to your body. Hey, I need you. To your bones, I need you. I've been researching bone density from a couple of doctors, and I can't think of their names right now, but I'll link them down. That bones actually release messages to the brain, to other parts of the body. And I had no clue of that. But this is why it's so important that we not only focus on that number on the scale, but focus on, am I keeping my muscle? Am I keeping my bone structure? How am I working on that? Fat is going to be lost as you progress, right? What's really cool about visceral fat, the visceral fat is the fat that goes first. That's the fat that the body burns. When you start becoming insulin sensitive, and you add strength training and walking to your diet, the first fat that goes is the visceral fat. That is a scientific fact, which is a great news for us because that's what we want. I have an action plan, and I want to share that action plan with you. So those of you who just wanted to know, what are you going to do about your visceral fat? This is my action plan. I invested in this baby right here. I think I paid $189 on Amazon. So I invested in this baby right here, Morphoscan Nova. I am going to be using this as my at-home DEXA scan. It has 50 plus body metrics. It has 8 electrodes and TFT display readings, and it obviously gives you a really nice report, which is what I'm showing you here. So that's the first thing I did. That was my first step. My second part of the plan is that I am going to continue to do my morning movement. You guys know that before I go to work, I have at the very least 4,000 steps out of the way. I do that by walking for 30 minutes. While I'm walking, I'm listening to podcasts. I'm listening to messages that are going to uplift my spirits. And I also pray and I talk to God while I walk. So that's my morning routine that I've been doing since the very beginning. It's worked for me and I love it. And then by the end of the day, I have my 10,000 steps. I will continue to prioritize high protein and high fiber meals to stabilize my blood sugar and reduce my cravings. I am tracking my glucose in the morning. I am tracking my blood pressure because I found out through this journey that I have a elevated Lp(a), which is a genetic condition that for the most part cannot be changed with lifestyle changes. But I have another video that's coming up that is going to be a video giving you an update on my cholesterol levels because I decided not to take statins. And I have great news for that update as well. So I'm excited about making that video, but I digress. Resistance training. Again, I will be focusing on 3 main parts in my resistance training. I will be focusing on I want to use several muscles, okay? I want to be able to do my squats, my kettlebell. I will be focusing on deadlifts, that's new for me. I have not done that. So there's just three main ones that I'll be doing, just the squats, the, upper body, and definitely the deadlifts, because I want to focus on this area, because obviously my visceral fat is in this area. It's all over here. And we want to get those 3.7 pounds that I have of fat around my organs. We want to get that at 0. Sleep optimization. I have been doing okay in this area. And the reason I say okay is because I have a lot of energy, you guys. I have ADHD, and I just have, naturally, I have a lot of energy. And so I hit 7 most of the days, but sometimes I hit 6.5, hours of sleep. And it looks here that I should be hitting 7 to 8 hours. So I'm going to be working a little bit more on that. And my supplement support. You know that I have been talking about how important magnesium has been for me, especially as a perimenopausal woman. Magnesium has been the key for me. I also take vitamin D. When I started on my journey, my doctor put me on like a high dose of vitamin D to get me started. Now I just take regular vitamin D3 and K2 together. And zinc. I mean, I am an advocate of zinc. I also had back surgery years ago. And that was the first time that creatine was introduced to me. And I take creatine every single day. It's worked for me. I don't know how it works for other people, but obviously just looking at my numbers and the way my muscles and my bones look, I think creatine has played a part. I don't have a scientific proof for it, but I can tell you for myself, magnesium and creatine and vitamin D3, they just been crucial in this weight loss journey of mine. This scan definitely gave me clarity, not just about weight, but where fat is stored inside my body and how it impacts my health. I'll be tracking progress with follow-up scans and sharing updates here, so I'm excited about that. If you're on a similar journey, drop a comment below. Let's keep learning, moving, and building metabolic strength together, because we're gonna need to do that as we get older, as our family expands. I went to my niece's wedding a couple of weekends ago, and just had a really nice time with my family. But I don't know if you know, I don't know if I've shared this, but I got divorced a couple of years ago, and prior to the divorce, we were like the Fantastic Four. The family dynamic was just, it was a big deal for both my ex and I, and we went our separate ways. And when that happened, you guys, my life broke, because my identity was in my career and my family. My family was my identity. And so it really caused me to shift, work on mind shifting and understanding that, there are things that happen in life that just don't work out, and that didn't work out. And got to go to my niece's wedding, and it was just so spiritual. But I was able to see a vision of my new family dynamic and how that's going to look. I don't currently have a partner. I don't intend to. I tried dating, that didn't work out. So I'm just like, Lord, okay. But I was able to be with my kids, and I'll share a picture if they allow me to share it. And I was able to see us, the three of us, and both of my kids have their partners. And I was able to see what the future can look like. Because sometimes when you lose something that means a lot to you, you mourn the loss because you can't see the new future. And God allowed me 2 weekends ago to see the new future. And I hope the same for you. I'm doing what I'm doing here in changing my lifestyle because I want my children to see me as an example of someone who actually can make a change. And not only make a change, but also someone that can be around for her grandkids and her family. And yeah, I just wanted to let you know that no matter where you're at, however that looks like for you, you can start today. I love you. God bless you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.